Before we do anything, just take a few moments to just see each other, feel each other, and notice your feet on the floor. Maybe you can drop your shoulders down an inch and just let your body arrive. And perhaps in the chat, you could just tell me what brought you here. And if there's one thing that you're feeling, just letting it be there, nothing to do. And yeah, just honoring you all for coming in and being willing to listen and explore with me. We're all on this crazy adventure together. And I know how hard, we've all worked on our own healing. And today I just wanted to offer you a different way. And so whatever brought you here, it brought you here for a reason. And somewhere in you is also a place that doesn't know what that reason is. And it sits alongside that part of you that has never doubted your wholeness, that's always been there, that's always been safe, and has always trusted that you are more than enough, that you will always have more than enough. And so we have this contrast of parts and pieces of us that are constantly telling us one thing, and then we are having what I call the mean girls in our heads that are telling us that that's not true. So, and I'm sorry, I'm a one-man show here, so little pattern interrupts along the way. Hi, Monica. We've just got started. Welcome. So yeah, today I really wanted to just remind you of what you already know, what you already know to be true. And if you've been searching for a doorway back to more peace with your body, more space in your life for you, more ease in what you're creating, I'm hoping that our time together today, you will start to picture and recognize that piece or part of you that you never even realized was there, or you haven't given it enough time or space to actually speak to you. And if you're new here and you don't know me, I am living this with you. I've spent decades exploring the deeper causes of my own physical symptoms, my own patterns, my own not enoughness. And I've also helped many, many women, many good men too, over the last 25 years in clinical practice. And I do this work because I know that it doesn't have to take 3 decades or a healing crisis before you get to start listening to your body. And I believe also that there's an enormous value, isn't there, in understanding our stories and our beliefs and our programming and all these emotional conflicts that we carry within us. And I also started to realize a while ago that looking, finding, searching for meaning or being in pursuit of happiness and all these things that we think we don't have can also become another search, right? Where we're searching for meaning and we uncover one thing and then we're looking for the thing beneath it and we understand a pattern and then we immediately wonder what created the pattern. And there's always something, isn't there, further back to go and something else to work on. And my question that I invite you into just sitting with today is when will we stop searching and begin living, like truly living in this now moment? Because what I've found is most people are protecting a life that they're actually not living. We're kind of just going through the motions until we reach our mid 50s or 60s or however old we are, and we're going like, is this it? What else? This can't be all there is. And then that perpetuates the suffering. cycle and the pattern persists that keep going on and on. So I want you to just remember that all that work you've done over the years has brought you to this place. And what if there's nothing more to do except be here now and live moment to moment and know that life is always going to send us challenges. And yes, we may feel stuck. And that's really what I wanted to give you the opportunity to look at today, because we're always bumping up against things. And I think we can't see it when we're in it. They're called blind spots for a reason. So being able to witness and belong in a circle like this that's safe and loving and gentle and honest can be a beautiful place where we can start to realize that we're all in this thing together and we're all part of this beautiful tapestry of life that can be pretty brutal at times, and that we don't have to figure it out all on our own. So if you've ever found yourself, being in that space, and I still go there, I think the more that we do the work, the more we're aware of it. And then, as I was saying, that pursuit of more is always there. So to just be able to slow down, and instead of saying, what's wrong with me, which is what we always got rewarded for being incredible problem solvers in this world, that the more that we could fix and the more that we could come up with solutions and the more independent we were, and the good girl and the people pleaser and all these archetypical patterns that show up, we then start to believe that's our personality. And really, it's just that protective pattern underneath it that's trying to keep us safe. So in the next 60 minutes, I'm going to show you or remind you what's actually been happening. And then we can open up for questions and coaching and shares or whatever is coming up for you in the moment that I can be useful to perhaps support you and your beautiful group of women that are gathered here. We're all here to support each other. So, what is one thing that is showing up in your life right now where you have been searching for meaning? I want you to just bring that to mind, nothing to do, but just to know that this isn't a knowledge problem and you do know what to do. And you probably could teach this workshop or this gathering just as much as I can, because we all have the knowledge within us. And yet somewhere along the way, we're told that it's safer to be quiet or to not ask questions. I know all of those applied to me growing up. And when you can start looking at your life and you realize that you're probably one of the most disciplined people that you know, that you get more done in a day than most people do in a week. And yet you cannot outthink or outplan or outwork a nervous system that doesn't feel safe. And growing up in a bush war in Zimbabwe, that was my biggest thing, was safety. And I'm still working through layers of that, of even though I know cognitively that I'm safe, my body doesn't always get the memo. And I think that everything that we do, it all comes back to how safe am I in relation to the person that I'm with, or the space that I'm in, or the creation that I'm creating. Safety, without safety, we can't create, because in Maslow's theory, if we're stuck in that survival, on that lower rung of survival, this prefrontal cortex, which is our logical brain and our reasoning brain, what I call our head tripper, right? When it's in the imbalance of trying to keep us safe, there is no creation. It can't exist when all you're doing is thinking that you have to keep yourself alive. And the nervous system doesn't care how beautiful your gifts are or your unique talents. They're not going to be able to be available for you if we're not coming from a place of safety. And we've all probably been around the block a million times by now, and we know that safety is a feeling. It's not something that anybody can give to us. It's something that we have to create within our own bodies, so that our bodies actually can have the exhale and we can move into that space of, hey, what do we want to do today? Knowing that everything supports you in doing that, including your body. And in my work, I always say that knowing our biology, knowing our physiology, I come to see it as that we have three energy centers. And yes, we have meridians and we have chakras and we have all sorts of systems and this intricate body suit that we're wearing for this limited time on the planet. But I love to think of it in simple terms of three energy centers, that we have the head brain, we have the heart brain, and we have the gut brain. And I love that in when we're studying anatomy physiology, that the heart brain is the first brain that actually develops in utero, and then the gut brain. So that they call the gut brain the second brain, because it's the second brain to develop. This thing only comes online later on. And yet, how often in our lives do we live like a horse? This beautiful body is the horse, and this is the rider, and the rider is trying to control this powerful body instead of working with it. So if the head, the heart, and the gut brain are not working in coherence, if they're not working together, because they all want the same thing, which is to keep you safe. If they're not aligned, if they're not in coherence, this is where we get into conflict and we start to get on the struggle bus, because one of these brains has taken the lead, and that's where we see the patterns start to play out. So the patterns are really the coping or the protective patterns. I don't like to call them survival patterns, but they were there. They were designed to keep you safe and protect you. And they've done a really, really good job, because if they hadn't done what they were there designed to do, we wouldn't be here today. But the thing that it kept us safe for in the past is not the thing that's chasing us in the future, in the present, right? But we're always so far ahead of ourselves, or so far in the past, that we're never really present to listen to the head, the heart, and the hara, right? The will, the determination, the intuition in our gut brain, the heart that is the desire and the fire and the joy of what we came here to do. So our purpose it really comes in that soul journey from the heart. And the head, yes, we need the head brain. We need them all at different times in our life, just like the patterns have served us. We need them in order to get things done, right? We want to be able to engage the brain, but not from a place of fear, of survival, but from a place of, right, I'm giving you a job. So if your head often comes in and the patterns are coming from the head generally, the felt sense will be from your body, from your gut or your heart. You're going to feel it in one of your body parts. So is this making sense so far? I know you probably all know this, but you're all good so far? All right, sorry, give me a second. Somebody's in the waiting room. Hey, Jody. Welcome. Welcome. There will be a replay, so you can listen to this again if you want to go back to where we began. So these three energy centers are, again, on our divine line, or very electrical part of our body, but we have this natural rhythm that is in nature, right? That's the ebb and the flow. That is our true nature, is in the nature of how we're created. The electrical part and the natural part always cross over. So every organ, endocrine and body part, every part of you, right down to the little quarks and solitons on a cellular level, hold that memory of the time when you believed you weren't safe. So you created the pattern that then motivated the behavior in order to keep you stuck. And eventually these grooves run so deep in our brain that we don't even have to think about it anymore. They're so unconscious, so they're so automatic. And that configuration is not random, right? They're all very predictable, because that's what your pattern is producing, which means, and this is the thing I really want you to hold, is that you're not stuck. And even that word is kind of like, we're really stuck, but we believe we're stuck because, and then we go into the story, right? Because this happened to me, because this person was this. So the stories that we're telling ourselves, become part of the habituation of the pattern that then constantly puts us on this pattern repeat that we feel like we're on the hamster wheel and we can never get off it. So consistently executing from inside a pattern also has a ceiling built into it, right? Where we actually can't even see that we're stuck. We just feel like something's not right and we don't know how to change it. And this is where I love that we have the knowledge that we all know what our patterns are. How many of you have taken the pattern assessment quiz of mine or somebody else's? Is there anyone here who doesn't know their pattern, like their primary pattern? Tash? Okay. So I'm going to go through.
I do.
You know your pattern?
I don't think I do.
Okay.
No.
So I won't give it all to you, but I'll give you the link when the replay comes out. And I'd love your feedback on this too, because I have created many iterations of this from attachment styles to all sorts, but the pattern one seems to be landing really nicely for people. Because again, if you know attachment theory, I think there's a missing piece to that, because how we respond, right, as an anxious avoidant or an anxious whatever pattern whatever attachment style you have is created from the pattern that causes the behavior, which is why sometimes people go, but I don't really feel like that. It always depends on how safe you feel with whoever you're responding to. So the pattern is not the problem, right? The pattern is the solution that your nervous system created when it didn't feel safe enough. So I think we can all agree that safety is the key to all of this. And right now, with all the uncertainty and the craziness in the world, it's pretty hard to feel safe in a world that you have very little control over. So the certainty is you can be certain that you have control over this beautiful body and how you create your life. And what if that could be this beautiful ripple effect that other people actually take back their power and their freedom because you are. So I'll start with the pusher. And a lot of times these are interchangeable. You may have done different archetypical quizzes. So if you take my quiz, you'll see that the pusher is the imbalanced part of an archetype that is the warrior, right? She's the one, the chariot card in the tarot. All right, she's the queen. She's in charge, and she knows where she's going. So all of these are very interchangeable. But I'll call her the pusher for now, because she's a bit of a bully. All right, she pushes and she tells you to keep going when your body's like exhausted and it's saying, "Could we just stop?" And you don't know how to stop because stopping is dangerous. Right? Rest feels dangerous. And if you grew up in a home, for me, I grew up with an alcoholic father that you never knew what you were going to get when he came in the door. So being still made you a target for whatever he was going to project on anybody. So if you were ever felt dangerous, and remember, most of these beliefs that create the patterns normally happen pre-7-year-old. I almost say the first 3 years of your life. And sometimes this is in utero too. Intergenerational traumas in utero. You're picking up everything because your body was picking it all up, right? Our bodies are greatest consciousness facilitator, pre-verbal. We knew what was going on because we were borrowing the vagal tone of our mothers. And if our mother had a frown on our face, or if you know the stone cold baby experiment, we need that safety and connection in order to thrive. So the pusher is the one that says, you better not stop. If you stop, everything's going to fall apart. No one can do it better than me. So you do everything yourself. You're hyper independent. You don't ask for support, and you don't know how to stop, because stopping feels really dangerous. So you're pushing to the point of exhaustion. And this is where many women who say they're they're burnt out, often you'll find that this pattern is what's driving the show. And it's very much a head imbalance, right? It's the head brain is in the driver's seat. And it's because that little girl decided that the world wasn't safe. that no one was coming to save her, that no one was going to take care of her. So she had to take care of herself. And we often see this in the parentified child, that she's the one that had to grow up, that never learned how to play, that had to take care of her siblings because the parents were not available emotionally or perhaps physically. So the protection has many ways of showing up. And if you can't ask for help, a lot of people that are pushy, people would say, oh, you have authority problems, right? I heard that a lot. Oh, you don't handle authority very well. And then of course, when it's projected at you as something that's wrong with you, then there's shame there. And underneath the shame is another layer of protection, because it's just like, okay, I'm wrong. Therefore, I need to really armor up my heart. So then the heart brain goes offline and you're just driving, right? There's no feelings. And this is often when women come to me, they'll say, I feel numb inside, or I feel dead, right? I don't feel anything. I don't know what I want anymore, because she's never been asked, what do you need? So if that's you, if you're the one that feels that you're responsible for keeping everybody else happy or everybody else safe, and you have a hard time sharing and trusting other people when you feel hurt, you may be the pusher, may be your primary pattern of protection that's really driving you to the point where it's just like, even though you're exhausted, relaxing is impossible. And I definitely can relate to living a lot of my time, and I do still visit her often, and it's just like, wow, okay, what do I need in this moment to be able to just be a little gentler? Can I just slow myself down? Because you're not going to get from breaking the pattern in one go, because the pattern's just going to keep showing up until you can start to create more safety. And the only way, I always say, inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard. Even though we're in meters and centimeters, it's a good saying if you live in the metric world. So, who relates to being a pusher? Yeah. Okay. So, just right now, if we just take a breath, and if you just you can put your right hand under your left armpit. We just do a little bit of somatics here. And then take your other hand and just hold yourself. And if you want, you can just rock a little bit, or just pat her, just hold her, and just say, it's okay. You're safe. You can rest now. I got you. And maybe you could just add, I'm so sorry that you felt like you couldn't ask for help, that you didn't feel safe enough to just rest or tell me that you're tired, but I'm listening now. I got you. Okay. All right. So the other one is the head tripper, and I love her too. so she's the one that overthinks everything, and she does all the research, and she over prepares, and she's the one that never feels ready enough, right? This is the imposter syndrome that comes up every time you're going to do something new that's unfamiliar. So you do another course and another certification, or you go on another retreat, but you're never quite ready enough to actually do the thing. And then you beat yourself up because you want to do the thing, but you can't. So you're over preparing all the time, because the fear for you is that if you do it and you get it wrong, it's death. It's death to you, right? It's too dangerous to be seen. So this is visibility. You're afraid to be seen. You're afraid to speak up. Because if you get it wrong, right, that's the main part. And this is the perfectionist, right? She wants to get it perfect, because if it's perfect, then nobody will judge her or abandon her or ridicule or shame her. So she never ever gets out the gate with anything, because she's over preparing all the time, always looking for more to do. And chasing the bright, shiny objects and comparing her insides to other people's outsides. So there's this deep fear of, if I get it wrong, nobody will like me. And for a child, being abandoned or rejected does feel like death. So, did you feel that one anywhere in your body? And remember, these are all interchangeable. So we all run many of these, but it's just like which one, by the time we get to the end of this, which one is your dominant trait or your dominant protective pattern will become very, very evident to you that most of the time she's the one in the lead. And oftentimes there'll be a secondary one that'll come in, and then the conflict arises because the head, the heart, and the hara, they're all fighting, right? Fighting for attention, fighting for the right to be right. And it's like, you're all right. Wouldn't you rather be free, right? I always say, do you want to be right or do you want to be free? And the third one, and of course there's 13 other archetypes of this, but we're just going to cover the three main ones today, is the airy one, right? The ether, the dreamer. She's always living in what if and the possibilities, and she'll fall in love with the man that she sees his potential, but she can't see who he is in the moment. And then later on she goes, the red flags were always there, but I couldn't see it because I was in love with the idea of what he could be, not what he was. So you can see what the relationship or the offer or the business or the person can be, and you stay connected to the potential long after the present to stop working. So the dreamer is always in the what if land of, what if only, what if, always dreaming about the perfect world and nirvana, and everything has to be perfect there too. So landing here when you're a dreamer feels really dangerous, right? These are the people that say, I just want to meditate all day, or I just want to stay in my breath work, or stay in the astral plane. So these are the people that seek a lot of spiritual practice because they get out of their body, because the body isn't a safe place. So you keep the vision alive, but you never make it. You're always delaying the decision because the reality of what is doesn't match up with the dream that you have for where you are. And that's the imbalance again of the wise sage, right? That does know and is listening to her gut. So there's no will or determination with the dreamer. She's very much in the heart. And I always compare her in business to the entrepreneur that has an incredible vision, and she knows she changes lives, and people come to her, and she's great at solving problems and helping people through their stuff. But if somebody asked her, what do you do? She couldn't tell you because she's all over the place, right? Because the heart has no direction. It's kind of like the riverbanks aren't there. So the stream of information or the flow of gifts and talents just scatters everywhere. So she lacks clarity, and then you'd become confused because you've got all these beautiful dreams and visions and ideas, but there's no riverbanks, which is where the head brain comes in to hold the vision and to steer it into the systems and the strategies and the actions. So this is oftentimes why a lot of people, and I was there too myself, and I totally relate to that, is when you have all these gifts and talents, and there's so many things that are coming in, and there's so many things that you could do with it, but the systems and the strategies will never work, because you don't have the flow of information being steered in the right position, right? They're not moving you towards it. It's just going all over the place. So the dreamer really needs to be grounded. It's like if you have too much air in your chart, in your astrology, or you're an air, if you've been called an airhead, or you're too woo, or you're living out there in la la land, you need some earth and you need some water to ground that in your body. But if it never felt safe enough to be in your body, you can't collect yourself together to be able to say, this is what I do and this is how I do it. So whether you're a pusher or a thinker or a dreamer, they're all there trying to move you into your true nature, move you into what you came here to do, before somebody told you that it wasn't safe to do that, to be you. And they just keep running in order to keep you safe. So somewhere in the last few minutes that we were talking through that, I want you to just notice or type in the chat, which one resonated for you, and where did you feel it as I was describing each of these patterns? Where did you feel it most land in your body? Let's just give you a couple of minutes. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, doubts and decision making. Yeah, because the brain is trying to come up with a solution that if you just get the right thing, then you'll act on it. But you can't make decisions from a confused mind, right? When your mind doesn't know where to go, because making the decision could be dangerous if you don't get it right. So they're all kind of interchangeable, aren't they? A bit of all, yeah. Mostly the ethers. I love that, Jody. Yeah. La La Land is a good place to be. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So I'm just being mindful of the time. So yeah, there'll always be a dominant pattern, and she'll always have an understudy, right? There'll be another one that tags along. And sometimes all three could be running from one minute to another, because we're having 100,000 bits of information coming through us all the time. So I think a lot of people nowadays, I find it quite interesting, and I don't know if you've noticed in your circles, but a lot of people saying, oh yeah, I've just been diagnosed with adult ADHD, or oh, I've just found out that I'm whatever. They get it, and then they get attached to the label, and then there's another thing to fix, right? Or there's another thing to keep you moving towards, because you're not there yet, right? I'm not, there's something really wrong with me, and a lot of times I think the danger is in that is, maybe I should just say, you're not your diagnosis, right? It's the same thing as you're not your identity. These are what I love to call they're the lie identity, right? The programming of this insane asylum we're all living in and nobody knows it. It's just like, it's not who you are. It's just a really, really brilliant system that we're born into, because we're also buying into our familial patterns and our cultural patterns in order to fit in. So it's beautiful when you can see them, because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So acknowledging, there's my pusher, or there I go, there's my dreamer. Being able to know when you're moving into that is a beautiful awareness to have, rather than just beating yourself afterwards for why am I doing this again? And getting irritated and angry, and then judging the heck out of yourself and making yourself wrong, which then feeds into the cycle again. It's just knowing the pattern is running is the first step, and going, okay, there you are. And then getting really curious about, okay, what created this feeling where the pusher or the thinker had to come online to take over? And sometimes there's nothing to do except just be aware. Being aware of it sometimes is all you need to do, all we need to do in order to change it. So knowing it then we need to start integrating it into the body. Because again, we're coming back to that part of we can know something and we keep doing it anyway, right? And the reason I believe is because the download hasn't got into the body. The body's still going, but I don't feel safe. When I was working with animals and their people, I used to say to clients that say, "Yeah, my dog's just pulling me all over the place, and he's out of control, and I can't, he doesn't walk by my side." I was just like, think of your body like a dog on a leash. If you don't feel safe enough to lead the way, your dog is going to take over, and that's pretty much like what our bodies do. It's like you're not safe. You're not giving the energy to the vibes to me that we're okay on this walk. So everybody that walks past me that looks scary, I'm going to have to do the protecting because you're on your phone or you're off in la la land and you're not with me. So just like being in your body is the way to start to allow the patterns to show up and go, "Hey, little one, thank you, but I don't need you anymore. I got this. You rest now. Give your mind a job. Um, give clear instructions like you would to a dog on what you want that part and piece to do for you." Make sense? Is this helpful so far? Okay. So the thing I really want you to take away from today is, as I think you know by now, is that the pattern isn't the problem. And the pattern is also not the solution now. It might have helped then, but it's not helping you now. It's just a brilliant strategy your nervous system built when it didn't feel safe, and it worked. You survived and you live to tell the story, and you've built a beautiful life, and you want more. So you're here, and you're protected, and you're not your pattern or your labels or your diagnoses, right? You're the one that feels the feelings. You're the one that gets to write your story, and you get to be the one that starts to rewire these old patterns and behaviors that are running on these really deep tracks in your brain. So we're going to do something different today because I promised it wasn't going to be information. I really wanted you to just sort of start to feel this in your body. And it's going to take us about, I don't know, maybe 7 minutes. And today it's really about the heart. So we're going to go into the heart brain, and everything here is optional. So you can keep your eyes open if you want, or you can close them if it feels safe for you to do it. And just know you can stop at any point and just listen. Nothing is required of you except your curiosity. So again, I just want you to make contact again with the floor. Feel your feet on the floor. Or feel the chair holding you. And I want you to just look around the room that you're in. And I want you to notice a sound that you hear as you're looking around. And notice any smell that you can smell in the air. And just know that you're safe, right? Everything is exactly as it is, and you are still here. You're still safe. And I want you to bring your mind, so engage the brain, give it a job, and just tell it, or ask it rather, ask it, what does it want you to know? What's one recent ordinary stress or frustration? It could be something small, maybe a 5 out of 10 on your scale of annoyances or frustration or heartache. Maybe it's a conversation that you've been avoiding having, or you have a decision that you need to make and you keep circling it. So don't choose the biggest pain point in your life right now, but just something that's insistent on getting your attention right now. And you don't need to relive the conversation or the upset or whatever it was. Just hold it at a distance, like you're looking at a photograph or that person. It's close enough. And I want you to notice as you think about this person or this situation, what does your, where in your body do you feel that response as you think about this situation or this person? Maybe your jaw's tightening, maybe your shoulders are bracing, maybe you're holding your breath. It's a great way that we can try to control things. Just notice the speed of your thoughts right now. Maybe you notice you're checking out and you're going away. Just come back into your body. And don't let your mind, your head take over. Just stay in your body. Let your body show you that earliest signal of discomfort. And as you stay connected to this, knowing that it's at a distance, that it can't hurt you, you're just witnessing it. Notice if the shape of what it is starts to become a little bit more visible, if it has a shape. And it could be 10 or 20% more. If it was blurry, maybe it's coming into focus. Perhaps it was a blob or a circle, and now it's transmuting into a different form. Just hold that shape. Just enough so that you can feel it clearly. And if you notice that tension is there, I want you to make it even more tense, just by 10%. So perhaps if you've been gripping your hands, you squeeze them even tighter. Or if your shoulders are tense, tense into your shoulders more. Clench your jaw even more. And just hold that tension. And now you just let it go. Come back to neutral. And when you're ready, you just come back into the room. Notice your breath. Feet on the floor. And notice if anything shifted, even if it was 1 degree after tensing and tensing more, before you let yourself release that. Notice if you feel like you have a little bit more space in your body. If the pain has dissolved a little more. And if it feels right, place the hand over that part where the protection really showed up as the clearest or the strongest for you. And I want you to just say to this part quietly or just in your mind, I see what you've been doing. Because that shape is something your body does. It's not who you are. And if you can feel it, you can begin to catch it. So just acknowledging, I see you. And you can thank it for doing a really, really good job, but it doesn't have to do that anymore. Because that shape, that sensation that you just connected with, your body's been holding it for a really, really long time. And it's come at a cost. It's expensive to do that. And that's a really beautiful way that you can, again, move from the knowing of what the pattern is back into the body, right? Connect with the parts and tell it, I see you, right? Using the tension to tense even more and then to release it. So just holding it and then releasing it. Tense and release is a beautiful way to activate your body to know that it doesn't have to hold it anymore, that it's safe now. It's a really quick one that you can use at any time and revisit any time that you want. And orienting yourself to the room like we did before we started, just knowing that even though your mind's maybe running danger, danger, the canary in the coal mine, just looking around like we did really slowly and noticing a sound, noticing a sensation, a noise, a smell, are all ways that you start activating those energy centers in your body to know you're okay. You're okay. Nothing to do. We're okay. You got this. I got you. So, how does it feel now that you have recognized the pattern before your head or your heart or your will, your determination took over, before your pusher, your dreamer, or your head tripper took you out? And to know that you get to have that certainty of knowing, oh, there you are. I see you. Thank you. Nothing to do. You can go and have a rest now. So one assignment that you may want to do tonight or tomorrow is catch her again in the wild when you're out there doing your life. One sighting, you'll probably find many during the day, and just notice who just showed up: the pusher, the overthinker, or the dreamer who wants certainty before she takes action. And just know there's nothing to change, nothing to do. We're not making her wrong. We're just witnessing her. And if you have a journal or you like to write things down, sometimes writing that down activates a different part of the brain than just verbally saying, oh, there you are. So writing that down, or if you haven't joined the Facebook community, I welcome your shares there. And that's it. That's it for today. If you feel complete, we're done. So if something moved in you today, or if you have a question, you could just raise your hand or put it in the chat. And just know we're not fixing anyone here. We're just witnessing and seeing each other and getting curious about whatever questions come up for you. Thank you, Martina. My pleasure, Tash. So any questions? Anyone got something burning that's been pattern repeating that I can support you with, you're welcome to ask.
I don't know what my thing is, but I've been clenching my jaw for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I suspected it was because of my HRT, because I stopped for a month last year and I stopped clenching my jaw. So I didn't know whether it was a chemical thing going on in my body.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I use that experiment because I don't know what the cause is. I mean, I have financial anxieties, maybe it could be that.
Mm-hmm.
But I wake up in the morning and I've been really pulling all night. And so I spend the morning like trying to undo it. And that was an interesting exercise because it was like getting really heavy, right? I was like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, years.
But I don't know what the crux of it is, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a beautiful observation that you noticed the tension. We have so many nerve endings in the TMJs. And in traditional Chinese medicine, I mean, that's my jam. But this is very much related to suppressed anger. So again, without meaning making, there may have been a time in your life where it wasn't safe to speak the truth. And I know that I learned that one really well. Like I knew when my mother was dangerous. Like you didn't want to mess with her because I could see her literally clenching her teeth. And I could notice that the fists also she was very braced. Like she was bracing for impact. But as a child, again, when you're witnessing someone that's supposed to be taking care of you, that's in distress, we notice as I've done that. This must be something we've done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and also grinding, you probably ground your teeth as a child. I mean, I know I've completely ground on my molars to the point where they cracked because there was just so much unexpressed grief. And of course, under the anger is generally grief. So it's the grief of what you, not necessarily what you didn't get, but what you got that you didn't want. Right. So it's always, for me, it's always being willing to look at the contrast of, can I be okay with what I never got from my mother, father, whatever relationship it is. And on the other side, can I be okay with what I did get that wasn't necessarily what I needed? Because all of this tension is unspoken truth.
I've been
in the metaphysical sort of awareness of what that is and where it connects to. You're also sitting very close, the TMJ is very close to the ear, and there's a lot of kidney meridians, which is existential fear and survival. And it also runs down into supraspinalis. So it's very much kidney bladder related. So water element of, I have no control. So when you speak of clenching and financial worries and things like that, a question that may be helpful as a generative question, not to necessarily get the answer will arrive in your body, but is to say, what do I need, me, Tash, what do I need in this moment to know that I will always have enough? That it's safe for me to have overflow? How does that resonate?
I want to write it down so I don't forget.
Okay. Yeah.
I think there's definitely a financial story. I mean, my parents split up, but it wasn't like horrendous or anything. But I was always with my mum, and my dad never had any money. And I think that there was definitely some, there's some storyline that I've picked up through that.
Yeah.
For sure. I think what I find it intriguing is that I guess that I think, like, how you're so say if you're not in control of it, it's like the monkey mind, isn't it? It'll do it before you in a protective way. And then you think, well, okay, well then I'll try and relax and be ahead of myself so that I'll be ahead of the monkey. So if it kicks in, I've gone, well, that's just my monkey. I just don't, I just suppose what I'm most scared of is that I create that the monkey creates a frequency and I'm living at that frequency and I don't know how to disrupt that or correct that. You
Again,
know how you get what you put out thing. And I guess I'm loving this because it's the same as how I think about things. But I want to be able to change the frequency in such a way that it doesn't happen without me.
Yeah. It's beautiful. And I think it's bigger than this conversation, but
Yeah.
but for now, it's because there's this element of I'm not in control. The fear, the fear underneath it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing you say is, as a child, you were bracing because the story you heard is that we're not okay. There was always uncertainty. Even if your parents never spoke it, you picked it up, right? So the signal that the frequency they were emitting is we're not okay. We're not safe. How are we going to, how are we going to feed the children? How are we going to put clothes? So the unconscious pattern that runs that, you may find it showing up, and the physical, the symptom, the feedback your body's giving you is that if you just keep holding on tight enough, you won't lose control of being safe. So it's the gripping so tightly. So when you talk about energetic frequency, and I love that, because we are emitters, but we are also absorbing frequency. And right now the world is saying, you better hold on to it. We're going to it's doom and gloom and scaremongering everywhere. AI is going to take your jobs. There's all this fear around that. And again, isn't it interesting? Because the fear program is how the government's institutions, cultural mores and morality get to control us, right?
Yeah.
Here's something to be very, very afraid of, whether it's a pandemic or a recession. Your brain remembers the story of the time when, even though you don't remember it, and you don't have to relive a trauma to get it, of you're bracing for impact because the shit's about to hit the fan.
Yeah.
And I get that one, because again, it comes back to the safety thing of right now, Tash, what can Tash do to give a little bit more space, a little bit more breathing room, a little bit more slack in your jaw to get a full exhale so that your body can come back online, and you then get to move in a direction that's going to show you different revenue streams, or a different thing that you can create, or a different way to create your own safety, right? Because it's not about the money. Yes, we need the money. And I have tons. I could talk about money all day, because again, it's an energetic
I think, I have to say this. I don't want to take over the call.
No, all good. We're all benefiting from this, so thank you.
I literally lost my job to AI though, because I've been a set designer for like 26 years, and for the last 10 years I've been designing the sets for the Compare the Market Meerkat commercials.
Yes, I love that, Meerkat, coming from South Africa.
Yeah. So I've been designing those for 10 years, and I literally was told about 3 weeks ago that they're going to make them all with AI now.
Yeah.
So I think I retrained in 2019 as a naturopath and a herbalist.
Fantastic.
I've been sort of starting to decide how I would make money. Beautiful. And I'm just creating a brand. And
phenomenal. And also, I would love to support you more with that process if that interests you. And I have something coming up at the end of this. But yes. So again, the head that wants to control this, right? Because this is in there.
Yeah.
You can tell it you can relax now. Thank you, AI, because I have now freed up all the space in my body to be able to pursue plants as my medicine and to help and support people with that. And because of what I know as far as creation, you're an alchemist. Whether you're doing it on the computer or you're doing it in set design, it doesn't matter. You know how to create beautiful things, and you know how to create things that change people's lives, right? You know the emotion behind that, the frequency of that. So it doesn't matter what your medium is. How brilliant are you to have set yourself up, right? I always say upset is, oh, brilliant. How did I set myself up to create this consciously or unconsciously, willingly or unwillingly, to give me more space to look at, oh, for the first time in my life, what do I need? Because as a child who had to clench her jaw and be a good girl and not speak and not make waves and be quiet, she now gets to express herself in a different way because you know that you will have enough because you are resourceful, right? So I hope that was helpful.
Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Come back tomorrow because we're going to go deeper into the body stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody had their hand up. Martina, was it you?
No, it was me, but then I'm conscious
Hi,
of the
Monica.
time. So, oh my God, hello. Oh, so many insights.
Oh, good. I'm so
I
grateful.
don't even know where to start. And Tash, I'm grateful for the shares. This has been probably a recurring theme throughout my entire life. The whole jaw tense, the tension. I could almost see the figure, the rigidity. As I was leaning in, I went to the whole thing, and I'm well aware of the pattern. I've done some work, so I could when I'm conscious and present, I could almost catch it when a big emotion, and it's probably around big emotions and a little bit of the unknown, and I know it's linked to safety, so I could almost spot on when he's rising and when I move from my body into my head. And then it's such a well-rehearsed pattern that I probably spend the whole life in the head, and through various works and exploration, I realize I've never felt safe as a child. Neither have I been seen, or I could not speak. So I developed various abilities, to
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Can we just have a clap for Monica, for Monica's beautiful protective parts?
Oh, I was like,
well done.
So many, and I expect. Thank you. Oh,
well done.
Well
She's done
now.
really well.
I can own it now. And I realized I pretty much spent the entire the first 5 decades of my life acting and performing and being super vigilant and everything. It has served me really well. But then the cost of it, I no longer want to leave that. So there's been a lot of inquiries. And yes, at the cognitive level, absolutely. But my body is, so there is awareness when I'm present, I can catch it. But when life happens, like you said, and the busyness, and not 100% fully present, and when the subconscious starts to run the show, what do we do over there? And I genuinely think I've literally just finished the first year training in family constellation, and I've looked at even the hidden dynamics. I think it runs the whole safety or unsafety in my case, and the fear runs 7 generations back. And it's in my biology. I love the cognitive thing. The mind would recognize it, but it runs to every single cell of my body. So I was like, how do we hold? And I love that you talk about the energetics and the heart and how many energetic things. How do we deal with what's stored there in terms of clearing and?
It's such a beautiful question, and Yeah, I mean, thank you for sharing that, because I think all of us can probably relate to how we recognize the pattern, and this is the, I think, the missing piece with everything. And I've done internal family systems. I know the constellation
I
work.
know you do.
I
So
love,
like I can
yeah,
bring it to the table too.
yeah. And again, coming back to, I don't know if you were there in the beginning, but where I was speaking to this eternal search for meaning, right? The pursuit of happiness, the if I can just fix this, then I'll be okay. And yeah, I love that our minds are curious, right? We need imagination. Without imagination, we would be like the earthworm, right? We'd just be going along, chugging along, airing the earth, doing our
I'd love
job.
that.
Yeah.
I'd love a little bit of going along and
Yeah.
just pondering
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
and rather than and yes, the mind is curious, but also think it's the mind that keeps us in survival.
Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty much, because my body will be quite okay to certain degree to relax, and I'll be like, because the mind is curious, and far enough, I tick the boxes for looking at the next. I avoided adding another label now. At the grand old age of 50, I definitely don't want another label, neither another identity and everything. It's like, is it the key to, let's say, everything just being just pure presence, or just being in the present moment when everything kind of like dissipates?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a
Rather
good
than
question, and I don't have an answer for you. It's just like, can you be okay not knowing that it's not one thing? It's everything, because we are all and we are nothing. Right? I always say, when I am no more important than the ant that's walking along my windowsill, and the ant is no more important than me. And would you be willing to be the joke of your own reality? Are
I'm
you?
learning.
Because
Definitely.
because we take ourselves so seriously, and I
Exactly.
think catching the pattern, if we can bring the laughter, not the hysteria, but that's appropriate too at times. It's just like, have a good laugh at how brilliant your pattern is, how brilliant you were at creating this masterpiece. And if you were that brilliant at creating that, what else can you create? Because you're an infinite, timeless, limitless, freaking brilliant piece of the creation.
An energetic piece of an
Of
energetic
creation. Yeah.
particle that
Yeah.
actually, if I mastered that, I was like, oh, maybe we can tap into pure possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the exercise, it has brought so much softness. I was like, oh, maybe if
Beautiful.
that can be
Yeah.
rehearsed to the
Yeah.
point that I rehearse the rigidity and the
Exactly.
thing. So maybe if I rehearse for the rest of my life.
Exactly. And I think rehearsal, I love language. I've always been fascinated by the frequency, the resonance of words, because we're so out of congruence with what we say is not what we mean, right? The meaning and the saying, the energetics on the words is so screwed up, again, because of cultural wars, moralities,
Totally. The
institutions,
conditioning that we picked up.
churches, all of it. So even in the words, I stop myself. If this may be helpful for you, because you're so much in the head, is by using the somatics of the breath, of the holding, of the moving your body, rocking your body, jumping up and down, anything to interrupt the pattern. You're not saying the pattern isn't there. The pattern will always be there, because it's a brilliant survival pattern, right? It's there for a reason. You just don't need it anymore. So it's just like, I can love my canary, but it doesn't need to keep telling me that the sky is falling, right?
Indeed.
So again, using anything that you possibly can. Sound is so brilliant, vagal tone. I mean, humming. And my mom used to say to me, "Oh, you're doing that crazy humming again." When I was like 8, I used to walk around humming. I didn't know what that was, but that's how I was working it through as on the spectrum, autistic, whatever the diagnosis or the label was. I was crazy humming, and I was the crazy one. Okay. But how brilliant were our bodies so we don't need to have don't make the meaning mean anything. So another mantra I would love to give you, if I may, is do not be the story, tell the story, or buy the story. It's just a story. And then you can laugh at yourself for being such an incredible storyteller. Just don't buy your story.
Absolutely. Oh,
don't buy the story. It's a brilliant story.
So
Go write a book. Go write a book.
Exactly. Just coming back in the body, I like it. I'm amazed by, you know, how fascinating, you know, we are so unconscious of the language, you see, but our bodies are spectacular.
Yeah.
Of knowing everything, yet the mind gets in the way. Yes, and the stories.
Yeah. And I would add to that before we move on. I would say the mind is a brilliant piece of tech.
Yeah.
Use it like you'd use AI. Give it a job. Give it a job. You decide what that job is. You don't let your mind tell you what to do with your life.
Absolutely.
That's the difference. You know, I say the mind is a dangerous thing, wasted. But use the hard drive.
Yeah.
And you decide what to put on it.
To switch, yeah, and to exactly. I get to choose the story, or the whatever. I get to choose the what the message that I send the mind. Oh, fabulous!
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure, Monica. Tash, did you have anyone else? Was it you, Tash? It's got your
I just wanted to say that I had this thing, you know, Veda Austin and all the water imprinting. And so I don't even know where I picked it up, but I got it the other day. So on the bottom of a pint glass, I wrote, "Be the person you were before the baggage." And I've been drinking out of that. It's such a brilliant thing.
I love that. Yeah, I love Himata Masara's work. And I studied something called biogeometry with Ibrahim Karim. It was a very ancient technology. But if you want beautiful energetic frequencies, and you're doing work with the herbs, whenever I used to not be able to get a certain homeopath, I used to just imprint tap water with whatever that was. So Nux vomica or singing nettles. You know, I lived in Africa. We couldn't get anything. That's
write the name,
power.
put it under the
Yeah, that's the power of the frequency. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be a name. You know, if you don't know it, it's a frequency.
Yeah.
An energetic imprint that can impregnate anything. So I love that beautiful ritual or the practice of that, of like you said. And I would even encourage you now to remove the baggage, to make it an I am something statement on the bottom of that. Because I think it just feels like you've progressed, that's not what you need. Because there's almost like a double negative there, isn't it? And I think that's kind of that territory where, you know, when they used to say, "Oh, just look in the mirror and say, I love you, I love you." And I used to like, what a load of bullshit, I don't love you. So, you know, the mantra or the affirmation doesn't work if you don't if you don't believe it. And I know they say fake it till they make it, but then you're in fakery land. You're not in reality. So I think, again, just being very aware, as we are, of the patterns, I would say the mechanistics of the language that we're that what we're emitting into the world, what we're writing, what our bodies are expressing. It's just dialing that up 1 inch. You know, I call them holy shifts. Just, can I have 1 holy inch degree more than I had yesterday? And can I be okay with that? So I think it's time to change what's on the bottom of your glass, Tash. Just a suggestion. Thank you. It's great. Anybody else before we wrap it up? Martina, you good? Elena, we can't see you. Tatiana, you okay? Is that Jody? All right. Well, if you feel complete, we can wrap it up, I think. Thank you all for being here. And I'll send up the replay later on, and I'll give you a little bit of play work, because we don't do homework here. And we want to play and experiment and just treat this as like one big playground. So I'll send that through to you later on, and I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Thanks so much. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Lots
Thank
of
you.
love. Pleasure.
Thank
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank-
Bye.